morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict, joined by Eric Shamilov every Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Happy to be here this morning. Kind of a dud, a little bit of a duddy. Government reopens. I'm surprised we didn't rally like 5 million points. It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine and he was saying the reason why we rallied on Monday, was the government, is going to reopen and it was going to be a year deal minimum. And it ends up it's a 45-day deal. I don't understand why they couldn't get a real deal. I don't understand why we got to waste more time trying to get a proposal in place that's going to really kind of work. And it's frustrating and time consuming, etc. And it was funny, the market, I watched it last night when it voted, we were down right about here, and then we rocketed up. And then I was like, what is going on? And then ended up selling off, and we're back where we were last night. And I'll give it to you, Mr. Bull. Gold ran about $100. Was not a good trade for me so far. But like I tried to explain to people out there, if you sell call spreads or you have what I call defined risk outcome, it's very, very good. So I'm short a call spread. It went in the money. I lost, what the difference is between where I sold the call spread and the actual spread. So in GLD, I sold a $2 call spread for 50 cents. So I lost $1.50. If I was doing the
What were
same,
your
what?
What were your strikes?
My strikes are 80, 82. Um, we're way above that on GLD. And that, sort of stopped me out. I rolled it to Friday with very little cost. So, I'll lose the cost in that, very small for now. I mean, unless it reverses. But the beauty is, you know, it's a max loss defined outcome strategy. So, I do that on pretty much 99% of all trades that I do, or I do spreads and they're capped risk. I do much more of that in index, in broad index like S&P 500, QQQ. Yesterday, we actually shorted the Dow. The Dow had 1,000 point up move during a time where the Nasdaq was lower. So we want to roll out of that, get short Dow. It may perform better than Nasdaq, but we think it's got kind of capped upside. But overall, markets are drifting lower on the lows of the morning. I don't know what's going to bail them today. Maybe you have some reason why they'll bail them today, but you know, uh, I just don't. I don't know. Where's the China deal, man? Where's the China deal? That's what I
What
want.
is I mean, before we get to the China deal, the price reaction from yesterday's vote. I mean, the fact that it was a dud, like you say. I mean, what does that tell you? To me, it tells me that the market wasn't really focused enough on this to react to it in any meaningful way. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
Today, I'm kind of
can I ask you a question? What are they reacting to? Like they never reacted
whatever it
negative.
is, it's not this.
What?
Whatever it is that they're reacting to, I don't think it's this.
I understand that, but I'm trying to understand the logic since you're the Swami. I'm gonna let you tell me how to really understand it in not in market reaction mode because the reactions are always bullish. I texted another one of my friends this morning and I said, "What fake thing are they going to come up with today to try to rally the market?" I mean, they're running out of fake news to make the market rally. What's he going to do? He's going to meet Chi again. They're sitting down. I mean, they were so close to a deal, that it's unbelievable. But, my thought going back to the trade, going back to the government. is we never went down because of the government shutdown, right? Did we? I don't think we did. We went up, actually, since the government's been shut down. Then on Sunday, they have rumblings that they're going to do a deal, okay, which at the beginning of the weekend, it was supposed to be at least a year, okay? So they put this nonsense to bed for a while. It always comes back up. But it ends up that they do a deal till January. I think it's 6 or 8 weeks max. Like, what do we need that aggravation for? Why is that good? Like, what's good about that? I'm just trying to understand what's so good. Um, it's people fighting each other. It's really a weird situation. And why they think this is bullish, or as soon as it was signed, we went up. Why? I'm just trying to understand. Is it just an algo that just buys everything every single day, no matter what the news is, and they somehow perceive anything as good? Honestly, I'm just trying to figure it out because like I was surprised last night. So that's all I'll say. And markets are, not down a lot. Nasdaq's down 36 bips, the S&P's down 30 bips. Um, Not a lot going on. We'll see if they put the hammer to them today. Technology sort of across the board looked a little weak yesterday till the end of the day. They pulled the same shenanigans on the close that they pull every day. Market on close to sell, market on close to buy after the imbalance comes out, and then at the very end of the day, market on close to sell. We were never allowed to do any of the stuff that they're doing now. I don't know how they're pulling that off, but that's a pattern that we kind of pick up on. And overall, looking at the board, you have bonds, slightly lower yield at 409, still not at the 415 high, but definitely not near 4%. So we're kind of stuck in here. And, we talked a little bit the other day about the odds. I'd be interested to see the odds for a December cut because I think the odds should be zero. But somehow I think there's still a 60% chance of a cut.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And we didn't have any government data out today. We were supposed to have uh, jobs report. We were supposed to have the inflation report. We didn't have anything.
yeah, and my question is, now that the government's open, how are they going to recompile all this data? Like they weren't getting the data. So how are they going to recompile the data from CPI this month, last month? It's going to be difficult. And I have a friend that works in the government. He said in an agency, and he said a couple of months shutdown puts them years behind. So I don't know what that actually means. So I don't know if the data, not that it's ever trustworthy, but that it's going to be that trustworthy. They may be scrambling to put this data together. So here we are.
We may never see the October CPI report. I think actually.
We might not. But I don't know, how, these numbers are MOM, like month over month, a lot of this data, CPI is MOM, month over month. So how are they going month over month CPI? They're not. They're just not going to do it. I mean, that's almost the core data is, core month over month. That's how they decide whether inflation is, ticking up, not ticking up. If they just come out with a straight number, they're going to have it based off of nothing. Because, like, I'm looking at my Bloomberg, and there's month over month all across the board here. So, if you're thinking they're not going to compile data for last month, I mean, that would
I
put
think they're
them.
just going to forget about October data and move on.
Really? I don't know if they'll
That's
do
what I
that.
heard yesterday.
Really? Well, then they don't got month over month, right? So we're gonna have to go year over year. I think that's really a lot harder of a tool to measure year over year. That's a long time. Wait, it's year over year, but they're taking a month out of year over year. So we'll see how all this gets going. But again, what my
What's
friends
your
call.
what's your outlook on rates here? Do you see a trade or
No, I honestly don't. I think rates go higher. I just, it's funny. It's almost like the oil trade. So like, we were patient. It came into our buy zone yesterday, which we talked about every day on the air. Be patient. Wait into the 58 handle, hopefully mid to lower 58 handle, and we got there yesterday. Um, and now we bounced a little, not a lot. We're up 1%. I would, if we get a little bit more, you take your profit. But there are a couple of things that are in, you know, really tight ranges, and you got to trade very tight. And one of them is bonds, because, as you know, into the Fed meeting, they got below 4% for like a day. And then after the Fed cut, which the same thing happened the last time the Fed cut, bond backed up. And this time it backed up to like 417. Now we're back at we're at 40, we're actually at 409, 410. So, basically, if you put a gun to my head, I would say that yields are gonna go higher here. Okay. I just don't know if there's gonna be an accelerated trade above 415. It doesn't look that interesting to me here for a trade to short bonds to, make 5 bips. Those are very, very tight ranges, but they're pretty tight. Oil, as you know, has been very, very tight, very tight. You know, so there hasn't been a trade till yesterday in oil, and you know we're we're long, but we're long by selling puts below the market. So really, our long hits us if we actually have to get long below 57 and a half. So, here we sit, fairly quiet. My positions for my ETF are fairly quiet. My positions at the op trader, um, are very quiet. We have one position on in the euro against the dollar. We're long the euro. We're up money on this trade, but again, it's very, very slow. Um, our S&P spread trader is, I know you talk about jinxing, but we're 18 days in a row. So I don't know if anyone that's watching wants to take a look at that product, but that's 18 winning trades in a row, 18 days in a row. And that product involves kind of what you do, but not really. It may end up as an iron condor, but really we sell put and call spreads separately. We don't do a trade together. But overall, these trades have been working. I'm a little nervous. I was a little nervous yesterday going in. Today, if the market opens down here or a little bit lower, I would look to sell something 30, 40, $50 lower than the market. I'm not thinking we're going to have an outsized down day today. I hope we do, but I'm not actually thinking that. I think you could be safe there. And, the trade that has been working and is in a crazy outsized trade is gold. Gold's up about $100 in 2 days. Um, it's about $200 off the low of the move and about $200 off the high of the move. So it's mid range again. So all your guys that you said, which I don't believe actually happened, couldn't hold gold for 2 days and puked it out. I don't know if they're getting back in. Are they getting back in? Like that trade to me makes no sense. Somebody's buying.
retail's never touching gold. All the people in my circle, I've been telling them to buy gold for like a long time. None of them buy gold. They only want tech.
Well, you told me yesterday and told our viewers yesterday, it was all retail. They bought it and then they sold it.
Yeah, it was my circle, just from my experience. But this recent episode, it was retail, and I do believe that they came in and just as fast as they got in, they got out.
I, it would be the first time retail has ever done that in the last like 10 years. I've never seen retail come in, watch something go down 10%, and then puke it out in less than a week. I
Well,
mean,
it's a different
these
retail
guys,
trade. They're
these
much
guys,
more. They learn how to be nimble. Maybe.
I don't see it. I see the retail staying forever, actually. Honestly. I see retail. When is retail going to sell Microsoft? Never. Like, so why would they sell gold in a week? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was CTA. I just can't imagine retail came in, bought gold, it went down 10% and in a week and a half, and then they puked it out. I mean, that just doesn't, these guys never sell. Like, so I don't know what kind of, maybe it's a different kind of retail. I don't know. It's not the equity retail, but the equity retail never sells. They'll never sell, dude.
The bigger trade yesterday was actually silver.
Mm. I don't really trade that. That thing is crazy, dude. You trade the craziest stuff out there. Why don't you trade like I don't know, what's the craziest commodity? Back in the day, it was cattle. Okay, why don't you trade cattle? Cattle would go limit up or limit down every single day of trading. It was
Oh yeah.
unbelievable, dude. You should go for the limit up, limit down guy. I want to get dampened volatility. I want volatility. We do very well in volatility, but I want volatility that is fairly contained, in the sense that you can get liquidity on options, which, as everyone knows, over the last year to 2 years, option volumes have exploded on equities and indices, and ETFs. Exploded. That's where I want to live. I don't want to live in markets that, and I don't suggest it for the faint of heart, to live in markets that you
Mhm.
can't really trade and you can't get quotes like gold
Why
options.
not? At the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned the beauty of defined risk option strategies. Why can't you put that on for an SLV, for instance?
You can. Those products don't move. I mean, on a percentage basis, they move exactly like the commodity, but on a movement basis, they don't. I mean, where's SLV? I mean, I haven't looked at that in a while, but that's not an expensive stock.
No.
Um,
So
yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at SLV options. I'm sure they're not that liquid, but it's a $40 name, so. I don't know if you want to pull up the Bloomberg volume on SLV. I haven't looked at it, but it's an interesting place to frequent. Gold options are pretty good, but yeah, I do everything in defined risk strategies, and it kind of works
I
out.
mean, SLV trades millions of shares a day.
No contracts, options.
Oh,
Options.
options.
No, the volume is extremely good. It's 40 million shares. You know, so
I
you
mean,
can
it's
probably do whatever you want.
for stuff below 50. Do you go deeper? Like, how do you do? Do you only do out of the money for stocks that are like lower priced, or do you
No,
try to
depends on how
get the
you. No, it depends on how you want to set. It depends on how you want to set up. You know, everything has a delta, right? So if you want to explain it quickly, the bottom line is the stock is trading $43. Okay, so each thing has a delta, and the delta is the actual movement of what the option will move per the stock. So if you come in and you have a 50 delta option, it's going to move half the value of what the stock moves. So if you buy that option, you can expect the market movement of $2 on the on that stock will give you 50 cents on the option. There are things outside of that that kind of hurt that. There's volatility in that, so that might take down. And then what happens is, as your option moves up into the money, your 50 delta becomes 60, 70, and 80. So now all of a sudden you have an option that's moving 80% of the stock. And that's what we call an in the money, fairly deep in the money option, depending on how much time there is. On zero DTEs, which is the biggest thing in the market, your options go from zero delta to 100 delta. all in like 2 minutes in one day. But this is like looking at something a week out, a month out. So that's how you look at it. So when I select it, it depends. The first thing I look at is how bullish or bearish I am. And if I'm really bullish, I would do an in the money option, maybe a 70-80 delta option. I would spend money for that option. I'd have to spend $3 $4. People out there, you can get a bullish spin by buying an option for $1, but the delta on that option may only be 20. So you're only going to get 20% of the move in the stock. But the beauty of that option, if you happen to be right, then the delta will change and the movement will go from 20 to 50. And now all of a sudden you own, you know, half a stock position in your options. So that's, how I look at it. It all depends on where you want to sit. A lot of times for me, I like to express my view on something like take USO for example yesterday. Kind of liked oil, okay? I didn't think it would do have a percent move today, okay? If I did, I'd probably, buy a call option. But I thought defensively selling a put spread below the market would give me a positive return because I'm taking in the value of the put I'm selling versus the put I'm buying. So that's a credit spread to me. Okay. And I felt like that was a better play. And it worked out, so far well. I'm not in jeopardy of, taking delivery of USO stock or having to roll the position. So I would say to you, when I look at stuff, for me, I'm looking at how I feel in the stock, the future, the commodity of what I'm looking at. And then it's like kind of making an ice cream sundae, right? So you can make an ice cream sundae, you need the vanilla ice cream or whatever, but then everything you put on it is self-designed for yourself. And that's the beauty of what I've done over the last 40 years of doing this, of making these ice cream sundaes. I've kind of perfected different ways for me to give to our subscribers and people that invest in the ETF a way that they, can make money off of A, the mispricing of options, B, right now, the wild west of everyone trading these options, and then C, of having defined risk strategies that we find that are the best way to play the setups. So that's the advantage. But I would say to you, like, if you're looking at it, and I think you do a lot of options. I mean, when did you learn? I think you learned options when you started with me. You were mostly futures, right?
That's correct.
So now you have this in your bag of tricks. And it's I think options are the most important thing for trading. Okay. Because, like I said before, you can create any setup you want, but also what options can do is give you you know, define risk. So if you bought Microsoft, right, and you made $100 on Microsoft and you wanted to hedge it, you could buy a put or a put and a call collar where you sell a call and buy a put, and you're locking in profits guaranteed. There's no other way. How else can you do that? You could put a stop in, but overnight risk with a stop doesn't help you if there's fraud in a company, bad earnings, a number of different things. So the utilization of options is the most important thing in trading. Okay. And it's the best way to get, now you have all these levered ETFs, which are crazy, and I would never trade them because they don't really track well. But by using options, you're creating inherent leverage for yourself. So, that's why I love them. But, I really want to talk about, moving forward. I know you shelved with me for a minute when we started, this China trade deal. Okay. Like, what's next? What do you think is next in the landscape? Okay. That's going to move the market in any particular direction? Because I don't really see a lot, but you know what's going to happen. There's going to be some kind of Truth Social post of some nonsense. Um, but like it's aggravating to me, and probably no one watching cares other than me for some reason, but how, they're getting away with, not doing a China trade deal, not holding China. They reduced the tariffs on China. They reduced them. Why'd they reduce them? Why did they just keep them? Like, where is China? I'm just trying to understand. Like, why do we?
Okay, yeah, you know how I always answer that question coming from you. Like, where were they for the last year? I mean, we haven't had a China deal at all, and the market hasn't been really caring about that at all.
What do you
Why
mean?
would
The
they start?
market actually, no, no. All they have to do is say they have a meeting and the market rallies. All they have to do is say they're close to a trade deal, the market rallies. And the truth is there is no deal. China is going to wait to see what the Supreme Court ruling at the bare minimum is before they do anything. And whatever they do isn't going to be honored anyway. So why are we okay with all of this? That's what I'm trying to understand. I mean, they talk about de-escalating a trade war. Don't you think that we're in a massive trade war and nothing has been done? And they're like all these other deals he's announcing with Switzerland, which isn't even going to happen, or India. They're, India's fairly obviously large, but not everything pales in comparison to China because this is all about AI, right? AI. This is your big thing, AI. You know, and and Jensen
Exactly.
Jensen
You said
Jensen
it.
from I'm sorry. What?
The AI trade is just dominating all of these other, you know, I don't want to call it noise, but it's a little bit like noise.
Okay, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, the one thing under the hood that I'll give you right now is all of the stocks that are dealing with setting up heavy infrastructure for AI are getting annihilated. Okay. And they're the biggest companies in the world. So let's look in the Mag 7 right now for what's getting hit. The biggest hit is to Meta, right? Meta is getting hit because of their capex spend. They're spending so much money on AI, and this thing may not work. And the market is unhappy that a company that is as nimble as Facebook or Meta, as he now calls it, I like calling it Facebook, but Meta, as he calls it, is an advertising company that doesn't have any hard assets that are going to crush him. And now the market is very, very scared that these guys are going to do the same thing they did in the metaverse, which somehow he miraculously came back from, spending trillions in that and blowing that up. Okay. To now overspending in AI. And the same thing with Microsoft. Look at pull up a chart on Microsoft. That stock does not look great to me at all. And it's the same thing. It's this spending on this capex spending, this spending on AI, putting out, money into data centers and this and that I don't think the market's in love with. And I think that's really the next thing we're going to talk about is these companies that are getting stuck off of open AI, providing them contracts. So Microsoft was on a straight train up. Is that Microsoft?
That's Microsoft.
Yeah, it's holding, but it's I mean, if it gets down
One of
like
the most
15,
range bound. This is one of the most range bound Mag 7 stock. I think probably the most range bound Mag 7 stock. Where I
I
do
don't know,
see a
dude.
lot.
Last earnings, it was like exploding at 640 or 50. It's trading 500. So I don't know. If you
So
lose 100,
you want to know where the froth is coming out of the AI trade? It's in stuff like Oklo. Like take a look at Oklo. You know the whole premise that energy will be, nuclear energy will be uh, needed, and obviously energy is going to be needed. But this is where the bubble is. It was in stuff like Oslo. Everybody everybody became an expert in uranium. Like take a look at the Global X Uranium ETF. Take a look at that. That's going to be a very similar chart, right? And then, I've been mentioning quantum computing, right? Although not AI related, but look at how, and by the way, this stock, Rigetti Spaghetti, as you say, it's down another 7% pre market. So, this is so you say, we're in a bubble. Like, why can't the market fall? There's stuff that's falling for sure. It's not like
Eric, it's falling from insane valuations, and not valuations doesn't even have value. Like Rigetti, your stock that you talk about, I actually looked it over yesterday a little bit. I'm not trading it for full disclosure. It's just not anything I want to deal with. Um, but I would tell you the market cap is $9 billion. Do you know what the CEO said 2 days ago?
oh, I do, and that's why the stock is falling. He said that
No.
they're in R&D phase and they're ways away. And
What are you
he's
talking? He's
actually
saying that
the only
nothing's happening for 5 years.
no, but he was
Okay.
actually truth. He was truthful. The CEO of IonQ was completely the opposite. He's like, we're gonna wipe the floor with Nvidia by 2027. You know, there's a lot of rah 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 cheerleading. As we see a lot with a lot of startup CEOs. But the guy from Rigetti was truthful, and you know his stock is falling, and it should be. I mean, there's no reason.
But does
So
he
my
really?
point is, there's a lot of stuff that is getting like there is some normality in the market. The market is punishing some things that shouldn't have been up. So
Eric, Rigetti has a $9 billion valuation. Okay, it's punished, but it was a dollar stock. Okay, so I is that really punished? I mean, is that punished? People don't realize this. One of your favorite ones, you talk about DRAM every day. Well, back in another period of time in the 90s, DRAM was like the biggest thing going, and Micron was the biggest, high flyer at the time. And I'm telling you, I watched Micron go from very little to 200 and change back to one. Micron was a dollar stock, okay, at one time, okay, coming out of the 90s. So DRAM every day, like we don't have that in NVIDIA for whatever reason, I guess because they have such a monopoly on this sector for the moment, but there's going to be a period of time where there's going to be channel checks. There's going to be channel checks at chip pricing. Okay, right now they have, the Blackwell. Everyone wants their chips because they're the best, but there's going to be a period of time coming in the future where other people are making chips, and there's going to be a competitive landscape, not a monopoly landscape. And you're going to see stocks go up and down massive amounts off of this. So I would, you know, I would really, just take a look at this. And when you say, oh, big correction, I mean, what's Rigetti up on the year?
I understand, but from the high, okay, you
But
wanted
who
to go back to
cares?
one. I don't know
I don't know.
what
There
that.
are Chinese stocks that went from $2 to $750 that are out of business. I don't know. I mean, because maniacs take prices to wherever they take them doesn't. I get it. That is the price where you could have bought or sold it for a split second. But like, tell me where.
Well, let me ask you. Okay, so you constantly hit on Nvidia being overvalued. All of AI
No,
is over.
I'm actually long Nvidia right now for a trade from
All
these
right, but
levels.
you
Okay,
still
for a
right,
minute. Okay.
AI is low. But there's some metrics where Costco is actually looking more expensive than Nvidia. So how come nobody
I
hits
don't
on
know.
Costco?
Well, yeah, dude, listen.
What?
The company
What?
is $5 trillion, 5 trillion with a T. They're gonna make 500 billion. Okay.
All right. So, I mean, they're making it's all about earnings and earnings growth, right?
Okay. Okay, dude. Listen, I
But I'm
cannot
just saying. I'm saying Costco
I
has,
can't wait for this bubble to pop. That's all I can say. I cannot wait, and
right,
I don't know
give us
what
a
you're going to come up with.
date.
Nvidia is an amazing company, okay? But they're you got to look at it. They're right now. You would think from what Sue said at AMD yesterday that we're at the peak right now of what's going to be over the next little period of time. Now, that little period of time could be a year, it could be 3 years, but there's an insatiable, as she said, the word insatiable appetite to buy chips. What does that tell you?
There's a
What
lot of
has
demand.
changed so much in a year in AI that there's now an insatiable appetite? I don't see that much of a change. Okay. I know you do, but I don't see it. Okay. I know
Whatever.
it's
Even if you,
crazy.
even if, okay, even if all of this is true, it's completely overvalued. Does that mean the market is going to fall within by the end of the year? You had institutions last
Who
week
said by the
buy
end of
those.
the year? Dude, did you watch were you on the podcast yesterday? I think you were like on the other side of me yesterday when I basically said there's 20 trading days to go for the rest of the year. Okay.
Yeah,
This year is pretty much in the book. You know, there may
exactly.
be a hiccup here or there. Hopefully today we go down 150 handles. I don't know what we're going to do. But, you know, the bottom line is the year doesn't have a lot of days. So when you talk about this year, whatever major thing may happen, it's going to be very difficult to happen this year because you have 1 week till Thanksgiving, then you're in December, and you have 2 weeks of trading till Christmas,
Right,
and then the year is over. So yes,
exactly.
stuff will happen, but we'll have to see. I mean, listen, since we've been on the podcast, S&P is melting down. Okay. It started the podcast. We were down about 15. Now we're down 30. NASDAQ down 150. I don't know what the news. I mean, I think I know what the news is, but you know,
News.
what?
What is it? What's the news?
I just think it's disappointment from, hangover from government reopening where the market should have traded down and actually traded up. And now the deal is done. It's a horrendous deal. Horrendous. Okay. That they got to deal with this again, literally in like the next 5 weeks. Otherwise, we're going to shut down again. I don't, and they will shut it down because I'm telling you, Trump would have stayed shut for the next 6 months. He wasn't telling anyone to come up to Capitol Hill and negotiate this out. He didn't care. Okay. He didn't care. So the bottom line is they got a deal because everyone freaked out about holiday travel, but the deal is a fake deal, you know?
What's the straddle today? I think it's like 35, 36.
I'm not sure. Pull it up. It was there last night, but
So the last couple of days, Iron Condors worked. I don't think today's a day where that's gonna be the case. I
really?
think we're gonna, yeah, I think we're gonna get some trading today.
Trade okay. What does that mean? We're gonna go down a lot?
No,
Or
I'm just saying. I don't know yet.
but why
I
would
don't
the
have a.
Iron Condor, if we get trading, timeout, if we get trading, the Iron Condor will work. Okay.
Why is that? Why is that?
Well, that's trading. Trading is up and down. That's trading. If we get dislocation, the Iron Condor will not work. Okay. So that's how I look at it. If we get trading, that means we're going up or down, up and down, but we'll see we'll see how all of this operates. It's a little bit of a fugazi opening, the first decent opening that we've had as we continue to slide. You know we'll see we'll see how it all plays out. That's what I would say. One trade that's a little bit, I'm going to call it angering, to me, is I'm going to let you explain to the fans out there Bitcoin, okay? Because Bitcoin traded down to 100,000 700 yesterday. Okay. The markets are looking weak this morning, right? And it's been trading risk off. And the thing, it's not up a lot. I mean, it's up 600 points, but why can't they laser tag this Bitcoin down to 90,000? And you want to see your public sell? Uh, you know, then you'll see your public sell, you know. Right now, no one has to do anything. Like you're saying, like the public is diamond hands and they never have to sell, right? But don't you think at Bitcoin there's some level that you have to sell? No?
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Well, what do you think about Bitcoin here? You think,
I'm short it,
of course,
but it doesn't. I figured
it
I'd
doesn't go.
wake up this morning and it would be 97,000. So I'm just, it's a, you know,
I'm seeing an oversold RSI on the daily chart. That's what I'm seeing.
okay,
Potentially, you
okay.
know, I don't know if I'd want to be short right here. And they're protecting the
Dude,
100K line.
what would you ever want to really be short? Like you hate
I'm
being
short
short.
Rigetti.
You are my long bull.
No,
Chief
no, that's
long bull.
no, 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 no. That's not true. I'm short Rigetti.
You don't feel like there's danger in that?
No,
Okay. I don't like
with a
stocks that
with
that could
defined risk
that you could
option.
trade that 5 minutes from now can go into a trading halt. I don't like that stuff. I'm not saying it will, but you know what goes on here. You know, I these stocks are, I would call them mini. What do you call them? Mini meme stocks. They're mini memes. These are mini meme stocks. So I don't really want to be involved for me in that. And the options, even though we use defined risk strategies, are too dangerous. To trade.
You know what has been flying, and I think really contributing to uh, the S&P and Dow outperforming tech over the last couple of days. Healthcare, pharmaceuticals.
Oh wow.
Look,
That
they've been,
that doesn't give me the warm and fuzzy. When those things outperform, it means the mark. They don't want the high flying stocks. So
and the
maybe that's
mutual
why
funds.
they're coming for the Dow. Maybe that's why they're coming for the Dow. And again today, the Dow is only down 20 bips, and the S&P is down 42 bips, and the Nasdaq is down 60 bips. So they're coming for that trade for sure. So you know. That's what I would say with that. But overall, markets are looking kind of weak. And we'll
That
see if,
also tells me that the market is getting maybe a little bit less myopic right now.
yeah, but I'm a little worried actually. You know what? Thomas and I are a little worried that you're not wanting to sell an iron condor today when volatility is up and you can get more money for your iron condor. That I'm scared. Are you not selling it because you think the market could go down? Actually, is that what's coming out? Do I have to
I
drag
agree
that
with
out of you? Do I have to
I agree.
drag that out of you?
I
Is
agree
that
with
what
you.
you're saying right now to the fans out there that are watching us? That you don't want to sell the Iron Condor because you're a little bit worried, but you can't be worried about the upside because we're down 30 handles. Because if we came back up, the Iron Condor would be very good. So it must mean, I don't know if you can say this to the people out there, that you may not be bullish. Is that what is happening here?
I
Oh no, don't say
don't
it.
know.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, I'm not gonna put you on the string because I know you have to be bullish for all your fans out there. Um, but market today should be an interesting one, and I've this pattern. It's such a bad pattern, like up Monday every single Monday, and then the rest of the week, basically languishing and giving back the gain of Monday has happened like 5 weeks in a row. And you think a highly educated man from Syracuse University, talking about myself, would not be stupid enough to go short over the weekend, but every damn weekend I'm short. And I have to work the rest of the week to try to make the money back. So
We've
anyway,
all been there. That's funny.
so anyway,
Actually, you know what? You did put me on the spot. I'm looking at like, now, like we've had a move overnight to the downside. Uh, there's not much going on today. Would you agree?
um, no, I mean, not obviously economic news wise, not anything, but I just think that the market, these stocks just don't act well. Like, dude, do you know what Palantir traded on Monday? I'm just gonna let you know. Traded 100. It traded 197 or 198. It's trading like 180. Okay, I mean that's a sick move. And you know where it started the week? 180. Okay, same thing in Nvidia. Nvidia's actually acted worse, Eric. Think about Nvidia, it was $218. And then when Gene Munster, not Herman Munster, who is of the Munsters, Gene Munster, a character from the internet bubble, boosted his rating, saying the stock could go to $8.5 trillion, and the stock went straight down. So I don't know. All I'm saying is it's a weird week for sure. No one can buy Palantir at 180, but they could pay 198 for it on Monday. I'm telling you, this is all algorithmic craziness. I'm telling you, it's algo craziness. Like, where is the buyer of Palantir at 198 on Monday? It's now Thursday morning. Where is he? Gone? He's got to sell now? So that's what's weird to me. And these stocks look heavy. Bitcoin does not make sense to me. That's all I'm saying. It does not make sense. This thing is overowned. It's a wounded duck. Okay, it's literally wounded, but won't go down. It's wounded. I'm telling you, it's wounded. It's wounded. Anyone that has bought in the last 6 months is down money. Nobody had bought this thing in the last 6 months is up money. Doesn't that resonate? Like, when are they going to put these guys out to pasture? They don't want to? They're just going to let it hang out at 101? I don't know. I would think you would find sellers at 90, 92, maybe even 95, big sellers, guys that are going to get stopped out. You called me one day yelling and screaming, "Oh my God, there's a million sellers of everyone's selling Bitcoin, a million retail, blah, blah, blah." What happened to those guys? How come they did that then? And this
Yeah,
is not.
there were massive liquidations, and there was a little bit of risk off, and yet it can break 100. It's holding
I
100.
get it, but the last time it got down here, it was above 100. And you said to me, a million retail customers got liquidated at the same time, which is virtually impossible because the thing would blow up to way lower level.
I think you actually want to go long, and you just want me to talk you out of it.
I'm not going long. I will go long, not at this level. I will go long when you can see liquidation. And until I see that, I think the thing either
What are you
stays
talking
in
about?
here or goes lower.
We had massive liquidation like 3 weeks ago or
No,
something
we
like
did
that.
not. Not in
Yes, we
Bitcoin.
did.
No, we
Yes,
did
we did.
not. That was altcoins. That was altcoins. That was some crazy altcoin trade. Dude, if you had a million sellers of
Okay,
Bitcoin, it would go down.
so it's in
Okay.
the same ecosystem.
Dude, whatever. Okay, so
So you saw the liquidation,
what does that tell you? What does
and
that tell
yet
you? Dude,
I don't
I
know what is.
can't listen. We've gone 45 minutes. We're mellow. I'm staying mellow. I'm very focused today. Okay. I'm not going to get into this whole thing of we had a million sellers. If you had a million
Yeah,
sellers right now,
even your boy Tom Lee was talking about it on CNBC the other
okay,
day.
and he's a genius, that guy. That guy, dude, I'm glad you brought him up because he may be the only guy more bullish on every single thing than you. Hey, Tom, what do you think of this? I'm bullish. Hey, Tom, what do you think of that? I'm bullish. The market, the only time he was not bullish, this is a true thing, and I'm going to have Touchdown
Ugh.
T pull this for tomorrow. Okay. When the market, after the Trump tariffs, okay, corrected 30%, he apologized that he was bullish. I don't know if you saw that one, but he
No.
apologized. I'm sorry I was bullish. He had his own ETF. It was down like 35% long everything.
Larry,
So,
my point is you said you're looking for mass liquidations. I'm telling you,
no, I
we
didn't
kind of
say,
got that early.
dude, you are out of your mind if you think a million people sold Bitcoin and it didn't move 1,000 points. Okay. That you're out of your mind about. You will see what I'm waiting for is liquidation. Whatever you're pretending has happened is not liquidation. It isn't, Eric. The thing wouldn't move 1,000 points to liquidate a million customers. Come on, you're much smarter than that.
That's my point, is that even with the liquidations, it
There
held on.
wasn't the liquidation. There wasn't a million customers. It was BS. If you had a million people selling NVIDIA right now, it would be down $50. Come on. You're much smarter than that. Bitcoin, which is an illiquid market in general, has a million sellers and it didn't move. It moved like 1,000 points. Okay, come on. No chance. So there hasn't been real liquidation. Okay. And there may not be. They may keep it forever. Who knows? Your new OGs, as you call them, are feeling good. But somehow you equate it to a 10% down move in gold is making retail liquidate in a week. So in gold, retail liquidated in 1 week on a
Oh,
10%.
they got out quick.
But why? It's only a
And I'm
10%
glad they did,
move.
because they opened up a brand new long opportunity, and we're right back to 4,200, even higher. My
Eric,
question is silver. You talk about gold. Silver already, like, silver went back up through its recent high before the correction.
but you
It's
still like
trading higher.
silver. Time out. I just want to be clear, and we're going to end the podcast in 2 minutes. Okay. Silver opened up this morning and is now red. Okay. So I don't know if you still like silver and you think it's going to infinity, or you think you should take a trade
Oh,
here. I'd like to know what you think.
really outperformed gold over the last couple of days, so it's going to take a step back in that spread, and you could
Dude, do you
see
know
it
how much
happen.
silver? Time out. You know how much silver's up on the year? This is a commodity. How much
Mhm.
is silver up on the year? Do you know?
What is it, like 80%, maybe
More.
75?
90%.
Mhm.
90%. I know it's going higher. The funniest thing is there's a mantra
From
that's set up.
2000 to 2012, gold went up almost 600%.
Okay, dude. And gold sat for 15 years and never went up. Okay. So, you could say anything. So, listen, we're getting close to wrapping. I want to stay mellow. I'm looking at Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes negative on the day, we're going to add to our position. I believe that there are going to be stops at some level, maybe below 98, 99, whatever. I'd like to see some liquidation. And I like a trade like this because nobody who has bought this product is up money. So, you like the fact that, big guys up a lot of money or selling out a product to bring small guys in. I like the opposite.
I don't have an
I
opinion on
long.
that.
I
It's just some narrative out there.
I know, but
Um,
it's a ridiculous narrative. I want the guys with the most money with the most profit in what I have because then they don't have to make a move. But there's going to be a number in Bitcoin. It's going to be 99, 98, 95 where you're going to see some real liquidation. And when you say when am I getting long Bitcoin? I will trade to the long side of Bitcoin at that point in time, but we're not anywhere near that. And the S&P is down 26. Nobody wants to sell. So we'll see, what they're going to do on the opening. And I expect a quiet day overall. You're shying from the Condor.
I'm
I,
warming up to it. Warming up to it. I
okay.
think you talked me into it again.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm short gold. I would sell a little bit more gold in here, but define risk again. It's had a 200-point up move from the low. I'm not really sure why, but that's sort of what I see today. Nasdaq looks heavier, obviously, than the Dow. Watch for that trade to revert a little bit, and we'll be back to everybody. Actually, we will not be back. You get the day off tomorrow. Tomorrow is my AMA. Ask me anything. You can write into feedback at the Opportunistic Trader. Ask me anything you want. I'm happy to explain everything we talk about and answer any questions that you may have. And, we'll be back Monday. Hopefully, I have a smile on my face because, Mondays have not been good. What was the song? There was a song, I don't like Mondays. I'm going to play that song pre-podcast on Monday. I don't like Mondays. So, anyway, I wish everyone luck trading. Market has bounced off the low. Fear factor is off the table for the moment. And we will sit here and watch the trading today. I don't expect a lot of news. So enjoy and peace, Eric.
Have a good one.